टीएनसी लाइव से आप सभी का हार्दिक स्वागत करता हूं। आज जो हमारा प्रोग्राम है विद अनइंटरप्टेड विद माँ आनंद शीला। तो माँ आनंद शीला के साथ में आज हम बहुत सी बातें करने वाले हैं। माँ आनंद शीला किसी तारुफ की मोहताज नहीं है और माँ आनंद शीला को लेकर के आज जो हम बातें करने जा रहे हैं, उनकी जो सीक्रेट्स हैं उनको लेकर के बात करेंगे, उनके जीवन में होने वाली घटनाओं को लेकर के बात करेंगे। तो सबसे पहले मैं स्वागत करना चाहूंगा माँ आनंद शीला का। बहुत बहुत स्वागत है माँ आनंद शीला आपका हमारे इस प्रोग्राम में।
थैंक यू, नमस्कार।
माँ, अगर हम सबसे पहले बात करें, जब भगवान रजनीश ने आपको अपनी सेक्रेटरी सचिव अपॉइंट किया था, तो क्या विशेष घटना थी जिसकी वजह से जो है माँ लक्ष्मी के बाद आपको जो है, या माँ लक्ष्मी उस समय पर सेक्रेटरी थी लेकिन आपको उन्होंने कहा कि आज से आप हमारी सेक्रेटरी हैं, वो घटना के बारे में प्लीज बताइए।
Bhagwan wanted Lakshmi to find a land for a new ashram, to move from Pune somewhere where we can expand. Lakshmi was looking for it for several years. I was with Lakshmi going around India looking for an ashram together. Problem was, it was the time of emergency, political emergency, and land sales were not possible, and no government was ready to help. We had gone to Delhi to speak with Mrs. Gandhi at time, who was the Prime Minister, and she said yes, yes, but nothing happened. I returned back to Pune to give one the message from Lakshmi, and we mentioned, I mentioned to Bhagwan that we saw Mrs. Gandhi. Mrs. Gandhi says yes, but there is no certainty. It was clear that she gave a diplomatic answer. And from then Bhagwan told me to call Lakshmi and said she should remain in Delhi and get this organized, that Mrs. Gandhi says yes. And from that moment, he told me to take over the work in Pune. And he said, from now on, you are my secretary.
जैसा कि हमें पता है जी, जैसा माँ हमें पता है कि आपको सेक्रेटरी जो है अपॉइंट किया गया, फिर उसके बाद में क्या घटना हुई जिसमें आपने कैसे सोचा कि अमेरिका में जो है ये स्थान जो है खोजा जा सकता है, या वहां पर कोई जगह है जहां पर ये कम्यून बनाया जा सकता है?
Few days after I was his secretary, and while working with Bhagwan, I made a suggestion that here in India it is not possible to find under emergency. Then why not we go somewhere else out of India? And he said, what do you suggest? So I said, well, I think America would be the best, as it is the land of free. It is, its constitution allows people to practice their beliefs freely. There would be the right place. And immediately Bhagwan replied to me then you arrange it. We will go to America. That was his command.
माँ, आफ्टर गोइंग अमेरिका, वहां पर ऐसे क्या चैलेंजेस थे? क्योंकि जो आपने जो जगह फाइनलाइज की, उस जगह पर जो है एक कम्यून बनाना, उसको शहर को बसाना एक बेहद ही मुश्किल कार्य था। तो क्या क्या कठिनाइयां आई उस जगह को बनाने में? क्योंकि उस कम्यून के स्थापित होने में आपका सबसे बड़ा योगदान रहा, और आपने किस प्रकार से किन कठिनाइयों का सामना करते हुए उस कम्यून को स्थापित किया, मैं चाहूंगा कि आप इस बारे में भी जरूर बताएं।
कोई भी काम, sorry, I was answering to you like on telephone. Whenever you have a project and it is a project that you are not aware of the future in it, difficulties will arise. All kinds of difficulties will arise. And these difficulties have to be faced with courage and with vigor. For me, it was not an issue because Bhagwan was supporting my back. He was keeping me right. What do I mean by that? Bhagwan said, you leave it to me, Sheela, and you do as I tell you to do. So I had no worries. I left it to Bhagwan. And whole Bhagwan's community, who were in Oregon or Europe, or even some of the places in India, Australia, they have all seen and known the difficulties. We were fighting against the Christian belt of USA, not in active fight, just from our own existence, who we were, was a problem for Christian fundamentalists. Now imagine the bigotry, rednecks, what we had confronted, what we had to deal with it. It was no joke. And I write about it in my book, Don't Kill Him, my autobiography. And there is enough journalistic records all over the world of our coming to Oregon. Wild Wild Country is one of the detailed version. They show it in color to the world, difficulties we were facing. They blocked us legally. They tried to burn our ranch. They tried to bomb Hotel Rajneesh, not tried. They succeeded bombing Hotel Rajneesh. They threatened us with kidnappings of Bhagwan and other people. I mean, you don't have to wait till somebody comes and tells you a story about Rajneeshpuram. If Bhagwan's people don't know till now the story of Rajneeshpuram and hard work, Bhagwan, me, and his sannyasis did it. then I think they don't know anything about Bhagwan. It was the dream of Bhagwan to create a community where thousands of people can sit together and practice their understanding of their way of life.
माँ, यहाँ पर मैं आपसे एक बात और कहना चाहूँगा कि जो आपकी ज़िंदगी में जब वहाँ आप रजनीशपुरम जब आपने बसाया, तो आपकी ज़िंदगी में बहुत सारे चेंजेस आए क्योंकि ज़िम्मेदारियाँ बहुत ज़्यादा थी आपके सर के ऊपर। आप दिन-रात जो आपका कार्य था, भगवान को भी देखना होता था, रेंज को भी देखना होता था। वो सब किस प्रकार से आप मैनेज करते थे, पहले मैं आपसे वो जानना चाहूँगा। और मैं माँ आपसे कहना चाहूँगा कि कुछ जवाब जो है आप थोड़ा-सा हिंदी में भी कोशिश कीजिए बिकॉज़ जो है बहुत सारे हिंदुस्तानी लोग जो हैं उनकी शिकायत रहती है कि जो है माँ आनंद शीला जो है अक्सर इंग्लिश में बोला करती हैं, तो कुछ अगर हो सकता है आप हिंदी में भी जवाब दीजिए।
हिंदी बोलना इतना आता नहीं है और जो मैं बोलती हूँ कभी कभार हिंदी किसी के साथ, जब वो ऑटोमेटिक हो जाता है तो बोल सकती हूँ। और इतनी हिंदी जो आती है समझ में, वो भगवान के कारण है। भगवान के हिंदी डिस्कोर्सेस मैंने बहुत सुने हैं, तो उनके कारण इतना बोल सकती हूँ। और ज्यादा बोलना नहीं है मुझे। अब मैं वापस स्विच कर देती हूँ इंग्लिश में, तो आपके प्रश्न का जवाब दे सकूं। आपने पूछे, you asked me after
माँ जी,
हाँ,
माँ मैंने आपसे पूछा कि आप जब कम्यून में जब आपने स्थापित किया तो उस समय पर आपके ऊपर जिम्मेदारियां बहुत ज्यादा थी जिसमें भगवान श्री रजनीश को भी जो है आपको देखना होता था, कम्यून को भी देखना होता, तो कैसे मैनेज करती थी, क्या क्या उस समय पर चैलेंजेस थे और बहुत सारी चीजें थी, बहुत सारी ऐसी बातें थी वहां पर, उनको लेकर के भी आगे हम चर्चा करेंगे। लेकिन पहले मैं जानना चाहूंगा कि ये जो आप दोनों तरफ संभालती थी, भगवान को भी संभालना होता था और साथ में कम्यून को भी संभालना होता था, तो ये किस प्रकार आप किया करती थी?
simply, very simply I used to do it. My commitment to Bhagwan was 100%. I had no doubts. When Bhagwan said, you leave it to me, Sheela, you do it as I tell you. For me, that was the ultimate help. I used to see Bhagwan on every conflict, if I had a conflict. I was no politician. I was not a person who knew how to be speaking in public. I was a young girl, full of life. That was the only thing I had. I was full of life and madly in love with Bhagwan. And I left it to Bhagwan. He would guide me and I would do it accordingly. I took Bhagwan's commune as his people for me. They are no different. If they are Bhagwan's people, they are my people. I embrace them the same way I fell in love with Bhagwan. And commune was with me. Believe it or not, there were few elements, they were negative because they were jealous, they felt they could do better work. But I was chosen. They could not change Bhagwan's mind. So every letter written to Bhagwan against me, I have presented it to Bhagwan. Often Bhagwan would say, why do you bring me this rubbish? Why do you waste my time on it? And I'm sure other secretaries would say the same thing about their experience of Bhagwan. We were given very clear instruction from Bhagwan how he wants to work with us and how we have to deal with the situation. And people will have still every doubt. When I was in Pune Ashram in the beginning, I had also doubts. But I was lucky enough to see Bhagwan often. And I declared my doubt in front of Lakshmi without any problem. And then Bhagwan said, Sheela, you drop this. When he said drop it, doubts were gone. So work was not difficult for me. I was able to manage well all the needs of Bhagwan, and I was able to carry out his massive work with help of his people.
माँ, जैसा आपने बताया कि वहां पर जो है भगवान की पूरी अनुकंपा थी आपके ऊपर, और आपका भगवान में जो विश्वास शुरुआत से रहा, और जिसकी वजह से आप बहुत ही अच्छे तरीके से सभी चीजें मैनेज कर पाए। तो मैं यहाँ पर ये पूछूंगा कि वहां पर जैसा कि हम जानते हैं कि बहुत सारे बातें ऐसी हुई जिसकी वजह से जो है आप पर कुछ आरोप लगाए गए, लेकिन उसके पहले मैं यहाँ पर ये कहूंगा कि जब आपने कम्यून छोड़ा या भगवान श्री रजनीश को आप जो है छोड़कर चले गए, तो उस समय आपके मन में क्या था? ऐसा क्या कारण था कि आपने कम्यून को छोड़ दिया या छोड़ने का फैसला किया?
My biggest problem was Bhagwan had assigned me 3 jobs. Protect him, protect his commune, and protect his teachings. Things that were going on in his house, in Lao Tzu house, where he used to live. This came to my attention through our pharmacy. The amount of drugs and barbiturates and anesthetics they were ordering was shocking. Part of it I write about it in my book, Don't Kill Him. When I heard this, I went with the documentation straight to Bhagwan. I presented the documentation to Bhagwan. I explained to him, if we accept this, or we are found with this kind of misuse by government, they will shut us down overnight. So clearly I said to Bhagwan, Bhagwan, my job is to protect you. You have assigned me, and he had assigned me this job. Even against him, I have to protect him. How will I protect you? How will I protect your commune? And what about your teachings? His answer to me was, you don't interfere. If I interfere, I'm going against my boss. And if I don't interfere, also I'm going against my boss because I cannot protect him. It took me 6 months to go through my conflicts, my inner conflicts. And then I decided one morning, I cannot solve this problem. It's time for me to go. As I decided it's time for me to go, I wrote a note to Bhagwan, send it with my secretary, Savita, with that note to Bhagwan, because I was living with severe bronchitis. Savita took the note, read the note to Bhagwan, came back with his answer. If you are tired, you don't need to go away from here. You can go to Europe and raise money there. But my problem was not the raising of the money. My problem was protecting Bhagwan for his safety, his common safety, and responsibility of his teachings. I don't use his teachings to find excuses and try to tell people how great my master is. I don't have to establish that. That has been already established by him. But I see sannyasins always looking for excuses. Somebody confronts them, they come and they will give you counter answer from Bhagwan's teachings. I would say to the sannyasins, either keep your mouth shut or learn something from Bhagwan. So these were the real issues why I left. One more thing, Bhagwan says, I escaped. Journalists all over the world say I escaped. When over 300 people come to say goodbye to the airport, you're not escaping. I had exactly written to Bhagwan in another note when I'm leaving, and I had told all my team who was behind, all the sannyasins who came to say goodbye to me, where I will be going, and if you have problems, do call me. Left a telephone number, my first telephone number. I would tell Bhagwan Sannyasis to look at yourself first and look at the reality. But they are too busy blaming. I know some people write to me and said, commune fell down or the Oregon was destroyed because of you. Hey, are you so impotent that you could not maintain a well-running organization which was left behind by me in a healthy condition? I tell the sannyasins to take a little water in a bowl and jump into it. Shame yourself. What are you doing now for Pune? Letting the looters loot Pune, Bhagwan shri Rajeensh? Are you letting all this to go to these few criminals? You're talking about me being criminal. They have removed all Bhagwan's assets out of India, and you are sitting there meditating. What kind of meditation are you doing? You can't protect Bhagwan's assets. Bhagwan has told us, wherever you are, create a commune. And create a commune with whatever you have around you. What did he mean by create a commune? Create a commune is being there. You are there for the other and others are there for you. How many of you have done? They talk about commune. I get many people come and ask, Sheela, you know how to create commune. Let us do it again, create a commune. I'm stupid. I have a commune here. I am living in commune with all of Bhagwan's teachings. I'm not talking nonsense about it. I see people sit on the chairs. They are ready to become gurus and putting their thumb on people's head and hey, what are you doing? Why are you imitating Bhagwan? Find your own forehead and do the things that you want to do. What are you offering? You are not too far from Christianity. Few days more and you will be behaving the same as Christianity. And talk of my criminality, I tell your viewers, go jump in a lake. If you have a guts, come and face me in my, look at my eyes and talk to me. Utter nonsense, wasting time of yours and mine with this kind of stupid questions. You are destroying poor Raghav with such stupid questions. If you have intelligence, if you have understood Bhagwan, then don't waste your time. Don't muddle up Bhagwan's hard work for years and years he has created for you and me. Talk of that hard work. Go into the words of Bhagwan, what he speaks about it. He is your master. He can show you the way. But be ready to guide.
माँ अभी यहाँ पर जो है एक क्वेश्चन है कि आप इनसे पूछें कि आप काफी होनहार रही हैं, पर क्या आपने मास्टर के बारे में जो ओरेगन में कहा, क्या वो ठीक था? कमिंग टू दिस क्वेश्चन, मैं यहाँ पर एक और चीज ऐड करना चाहूंगा कि जाने से पहले जो भगवान के लिए आपने बातें कही, उनको लेकर के आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
Let me explain to you. I left Bhagwan furthermore because I saw to get money out of Bhagwan's sannyasin, Bhagwan used to declare them enlightened. So he can't declare only the little people enlightened. So in between he would take few people like, I don't want to name the names because they are also part of your viewers. They were declared enlightened. Or he would create a committee of 21 people, inner circle. It disgusted me so utterly. And my relationship with Bhagwan was of true love, where I could tell him what I felt, and I was always ready to receive his words. Even his angry words, I have received them gracefully. What I said to journalists, that was after I had left Bhagwan, and journalists came to me after what Bhagwan had said about me. And I did not lie what I said. I had spoken to Bhagwan directly before I said to journalists, before I left ashram, Rajneeshpuram. My relationship with Bhagwan was eyes to eyes. What I felt in my heart came out in words with all respect. No one can say I have said something bad about Bhagwan ever. I have said my truth the way I felt, and that was the teaching of Bhagwan. How many of them have courage to do that?
माँ, आपसे मैं एक और क्वेश्चन करना चाहूंगा कि जब आप रजनीशपुरम छोड़ करके वहां से गए, तो भगवान श्री रजनीश ने आपके लिए कहा कि आप जाते वक्त उनको गुड बाय तक नहीं बोल करके गए। उस उसके साथ साथ में भगवान ने यहाँ तक भी कहा कि जो आपने अपराध किए हैं उसके लिए आपको पूरी उम्र भुगतना होगा। तो इन जो भगवान के जो वाक्य हैं, भगवान के जो शब्द हैं, इनको लेकर के आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे, क्या आंसर देना चाहेंगे?
I would say Bhagwan is wrong on these issues. I explained to you with your earlier question that I was having a severe bronchitis, and it was a policy that we do not come close to Bhagwan when we are sick. So I did not go personally to say goodbye, but I had written him a letter. It is also is in Don't Kill Him book in the back pages. I have hung up. Then what Bhagwan said about my person, how he tried to assassinate my character, my being, I take it on my head and live with it as Guru. I offer him the Guru Dakshina. Allow him to say and destroy my character as a Guru Dakshina. I offer him that privilege. And the privilege comes from love. I love him so, he can say what he wants to say. It makes no difference. And by him saying, it doesn't change it. It's my character. Sannyasins, if they are honest, they know this is Sheela's basic character. This is how Sheela felt towards Bhagwan.
भगवान ने यहाँ तक भी आरोप लगाया कि तकरीबन आप कोई 55 करोड़ रुपया लेकर के वहां से निकले थे, और आपके ऊपर जो इल्जाम लगा, खास तौर पे अटेम्प्ट टू मर्डर का जो इल्जाम लगा, इन दो इल्जामों को लेकर के भी आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
मैं इतना बोलूंगी कि मैंने 35 साल से ये प्रश्नों के जवाब दिए हैं हजारों बार, और अब मैं बोलती हूँ वो जवाब देना बिल्कुल बेकार है। कोई सुनने वाला होगा तो मैं दूंगी जवाब, मगर जो सुनने वाले नहीं हैं, जो अपनी फैंटेसी में जीना चाहते हैं, वो लोग जी सकते हैं। और एक बात बताऊं कि भगवान ने जब 1 साल में गई थी, उस तब से बहुत सारी उल्टी सीधी कड़वी बातें उन्होंने मेरे बारे में की, मगर 1986 में वो सब क्लैरिफाई किया है भगवान ने खुद ने। आप YouTube पर देख सकते हैं, वो वीडियो YouTube पर भी चलता है। भगवान बोले कि शीला ऐसा कुछ नहीं कर सकती, कभी मुझे या तो कम्यून को हर्ट नहीं कर सकती। Sheela has loved me, and it is not the type of love that you show. I don't have to say anything in my defense. Everybody knows Sheela was left holding a bag for the politician. And I don't mind holding a bag for Bhagwan and his impotent sannyasins. And one more question, Raghav, you did ask, or would you do the same again if the opportunity given? Yes. To live life that I have lived with Bhagwan, it is the smallest price to pay. I would do it again. and would not end any part of the life.
माँ, एक क्वेश्चन और है कि जो आपने वैसे तो भी कहा कि ये दोनों क्वेश्चन जो मैंने आपसे पूछे कि आप जब जाते वक्त कहा जाता है कि आप 55 करोड़ रुपया लेकर के गए और जो है आपने एक कोशिश की कि जो है अटेम्प्ट टू मर्डर की। इसका जवाब आपने नहीं दिया, लेकिन मैं चाहूंगा कि ये जो वायर टैपिंग को लेकर के जो विवाद है और आपके ऊपर जो इल्जाम है, कम से कम आप उसके बारे में जरूर बात रखिए, क्योंकि ये सभी के लिए जानना बहुत जरूरी है। मैं जानता हूं कि आपने बहुत बार इस क्वेश्चन का आंसर दिया है, लेकिन मैं चाहूंगा कि आज भी इस प्रोग्राम के दौरान आप इस क्वेश्चन का आंसर जरूर दें।
मैं पहले आपको बताती हूँ वायर टेपिंग। भगवान was living alone in his house. People around who were ordering this massive amount of drugs and medication and experimenting with Bhagwan. He needed to be watched. No one does something harmful to him. What is being done by the same people on his death day or before that? It was spoken to Bhagwan about it. Bhagwan's permission, we had set up the wiretapping of his room. And thank God that we have done that. Who knows? You all would not have known Bhagwan otherwise. Now I come to your question of attempted murder. The US government wanted to arrest me on charges of immigration here in Germany. The German government refused to extradite me on these charges. Then US government asked, on what charges will you arrest her? They said, murder charges. Then they came up with a conspiracy to murder. Conspiracy to murder. In 24 hours after their first extradition request, first arrest. Now, I need not explain anything more. No, I had not committed attempted murder or any such things. What people ask me for 35 years now, what I have been accused by politicians, etc. Now, I come to your 55 million. Your information is incorrect. People who ask you this question, these are people for tabloid programs. Totally not ready for intellect, not ready for logic, not ready for understanding. These are gossip mongers. They ask you these stupid questions. 55 million. Till then we had spent it in the commune. Where does come up with this 55 million Bhagwan? Because he was fully aware of all my work. It only establishes how involved Bhagwan was in this work. Not to get Bhagwan involved, I take responsibility on my head to protect him. But now he's no longer there. He doesn't require protection. Did the person who asked you this question read local newspaper and the Rajneesh Times that Bhagwan and his then president of one of the organization, John from Hollywood gang, retracted these statements in writing that there was no money missing, not a rapan missing. After 35 years, people are still asking me the same idiotic questions. Raghav, don't take it personally. I don't know you. You asked me all these questions very respectfully, very lovingly. But I think nowadays journalists have to choose their question. If their audience doesn't know what to ask, to move them forward, to help them push towards intelligence, you have to say it is better to lose this audience and have bad rating.
माँ, जैसा कि हम जानते हैं कि भगवान रजनीश ने हमेशा औरतों की, महिलाओं को हमेशा आदर की दृष्टि से देखा है, और शायद यही कारण है कि उनकी सभी सचिव महिलाएं रहीं। ऐसे में जब आपको क्रिमिनल कहा गया, तब आपने क्या महसूस किया?
It was painful because Bhagwan knew how he felt towards me, and I knew how he felt towards me. He knew that we worked as one soul, one heart. We were together in this manner. It was painful at first. As I said, the quality of the love I felt for him gave me all the strength to take care of this pain and the wound and the scar. I cannot feel offended because what he said wrong about me, it doesn't match my character. It doesn't match my work then or now. So he did not apply that to me. He didn't mean it for me. I have to take it that way, and I do. And he has full freedom to say what he feels, and there is no why. Feelings are like that. If you can find why, then they are not feelings. They're connected.
माँ, यहाँ पर मैं आपसे ये कहूंगा कि जब आप कम्यून में थे वहाँ ओशो रजनीशपुरम में, तब वहाँ आपकी एक मैगजीन में बिना कपड़ों के कुछ तस्वीरें जो है छपी थी। उसके पीछे की क्या कहानी है, हम चाहेंगे कि आप ये भी बात जो है सभी हमारे दर्शकों को बताएं।
These photographs were created by Bhagwan's Italian photojournalist. I believe his name was Surgeon, something like that. I don't remember it anymore. And he wanted to do spatial art photos of the commune, and include in it different teachings of Bhagwan. One of the teaching of Bhagwan is body is beautiful. Don't taboo it. And he wanted to do nudity, natural beauty against natural beauty. That was his set thought in it. I took this message to Bhagwan. Bhagwan gave permission. And Bhagwan has seen all of those photos. And he did a photo session. It was not me alone. It was 8 or 9, maybe 10 people from my team. He chose different people for his own reasons. We never asked him. And under Bhagwan's permission, those photos were created. And those photos put Bhagwan in all major European cover page of the important magazines. Bhagwan lived in good publicity. There is nothing sinister. Nothing sinister. Yesterday, somebody asked me on Instagram that there are photos of Pune Ashram, nude photos in a room, people having sex or whatever. Bhagwan's groups were very intense. He was working at a level to people free from their taboos, their anxieties, their problematics. Encounter groups had permission to remove clothes and touch one another. Nothing sinister. Those days, those were the new techniques in field of psychology. And Bhagwan was intelligent enough to use those techniques to help the Westerners who wanted to participate out of their pleasure, their wish.
Ma, sex is a taboo across the world. इसको लेकर के आपने बहुत सी बातें कही हैं, तो मैं चाहूंगा कि हमारे दर्शक भी जाने कि ये जो सेक्स को लेकर के एक लोगों की विचारधारा है, या भगवान रजनीश के ऊपर जो सेक्स गुरु का जो एक स्टैंप या यूं कहिए कि एक चिन्ह उनके ऊपर लगा दिया गया। आज भी लोग जो है भगवान रजनीश को उस तरह से नहीं समझ पाते कि उन्होंने सेक्स को लेकर के एक्चुअल में कहा क्या। तो मैं चाहूंगा कि ये जो लोगों के दिमाग में भ्रम है इस चीज को लेकर के भी आप अपनी तरफ से क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
In 60s, late 60s, early 70s, I'm sure Kirti can tell you exact date, Bhagwan gave a discourse which came out in a small book called From Sex to Superconsciousness. Sambhog se Samadhi ki Or. This book became a sensation. Even government of India thought of banning the book. And Bhagwan talks about how sexuality and oppression of sexuality has made perversion in the world, sexual perversion. How sex and sexuality are major cause of different social problems. And Bhagwan in detail talks about it, explains to the people, he gives some techniques to rise above obsession towards sex and sexuality. From this day, he was labeled as a sex guru. Average housewife panics. People don't understand their own sexuality. And when someone else tries to explain it, they take a person as promiscuous. People will live in 21st century now, 2021. And you are facing a sexuality situation and problems from 1700, 1800. Grow up. It's time to grow up. It is time to look at your own sexuality and activating the sexuality in creative works. Then you will understand the difference between average, suppressed sexuality and creative work through the same energy. So somehow this criticism hurdle we had gone over in beginning of 70 or something, Bhagwan had gone by. Second hurdle came because of encounter groups. And these photos that I spoke about it earlier. People, you need to think more in life than sex and sexuality. So many journalists have asked me, what do you mean that you love Bhagwan? What do I mean? I mean love. And for me, love doesn't mean sexuality. The love I feel for Bhagwan has 0% sexuality in it. Doesn't mean that I'm afraid to talk to Bhagwan or anybody else about sexuality. I am even ready to give lectures in a school to the children to how to think about sexuality. These are wonderful teachings of Bhagwan. And we are wasting time on same old questions, same old situation. I don't know if I answered you your question, Raghav, but if not, ask again.
बिल्कुल माँ, आपने बिल्कुल करेक्ट आंसर दिया है। ऐसे में एक सवाल और है कि जैसा कि आपने कहीं पर कहा है कि भगवान श्री रजनीश के लिए आपका जो कनेक्शन स्पिरिचुअल नहीं था, तो मैं आपसे पूछना चाहूंगा कि वाज दैट प्लेटोनिक रिलेशनशिप?
I was in love with this man. I did not need this earthly relationship. I did not need platonic relationship. I was just happy to be around his aroma. I was just happy to look into his eyes and get lost in that vast ocean that I saw in his eyes. How can I explain to the world what I felt? Only if I had the right words, I would do it. If I could show you, like Hanuman, my Bhagwan in my heart, I would be able to sit him in my heart and show you. But all I can say, please give no category. It was pure feeling of love.
माँ, मैं पुराने समय पे वापस आना चाहूंगा। जब आप कम्यून छोड़ करके गए तो 25 लोगों की जिम्मेदारी थी आपके ऊपर, तो कैसे गुजारा होता था? उनके रहने का, भोजन इत्यादि जो है वो किस प्रकार से प्रबंध होता था, वो भी जानना हम चाहेंगे।
First 2 days, one of the person who had left with us had some private money. So he took care of the first 2 or 3 days finances. Savita was with me, and Savita and I have lived many days where there were no money and we were buying things for Bhagwan and taking care of ourselves. So during this time, journalists were looking for me because Bhagwan was saying all kinds of things, and journalists had a hotbed of scandalous stories they had seen in Bhagwan's words. And there, the Stern magazine, it is a big German magazine with big viewers, came and we explained to them our situation. And there they said no worries. They wanted to bring out their next issue in September, October of the month, of the time. And they wanted to make it exclusive. So they had to keep me away from other journalists. And they took care of all the expenses, plus they gave some money to us for the good story.
तो माँ, उस पिक्चर में जो आपकी तस्वीरें छपी और उसके बाद में आपने जो है जो जिस भी प्रकार का जो है वो रहा कि आर्टिकल्स आए, तो उससे आपकी जीविका, आपके कहने का मतलब है कि उससे आपने अपनी जीविका चलाई।
बिल्कुल,
एक सवाल, एक
not
जी
just
जी माँ,
mine, but the whole group. We all,
यस यस, होल ग्रुप
because
जी
I got
25।
very quickly arrested once the article was out. I was arrested. So Savita had to take care of the rest of us.
जी बिल्कुल। मैं एक क्वेश्चन और है उस पे आना चाहूंगा कि जब भगवान श्री रजनीश के यूएसए जाने को लेकर के, उनके वीजा को लेकर के जो अटकलें लगाई गई, उनके बारे में आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे? क्योंकि कहा गया कि भगवान रजनीश को इलीगल तरीके से जो है हिंदुस्तान से यूएसए लेकर के जाया गया।
Garbage. Bhagwan had a legal visa. Bhagwan went legally for medical health tourist visa. People stop talking nonsense and looking problems everywhere. But that is the nature of the masses.
जी, तो जैसा आपने बताया कि उनको लीगल वीजा से लेकर के जाया गया, क्योंकि ये अटकलें लगातार काफी सालों से जो है लगाई जाती रही हैं। मैं एक बात और यहाँ पे कहना चाहूंगा माँ, कि अगर आप अपनी जिंदगी को पीछे मुड़कर देखें और उसमें कोई परिवर्तन करना चाहें, तो आप अपनी जिंदगी का कौन सा हिस्सा बदलना चाहेंगे और क्यों?
मैंने आपको पहले भी बताया कि मैं कुछ भी नहीं बदलने वाली हूँ। दुनिया को मेरे साथ जीना हो तो जीना है, जैसी मैं हूँ वैसी, और जैसा मैंने किया है वैसा। अगर उनको तकलीफ है मेरे जीने से, इस तरह से रहने से, तो मैं उनको इतना बता देती हूँ, आपको और थोड़ी मजबूती लानी पड़ेगी मेरे साथ जीने में। मैं तो जैसी रहती हूँ वैसी रहूंगी, अपने खुद के नियम से रहती हूँ।
शीला, एक क्वेश्चन जो है पुनीत शर्मा जी हैं, ये लिखते हैं कि why Osho then said you wanted to have sex with him if you had only platonic relationship?
I would ask this gentleman, if you want to negate a woman who was your lover, you will say the same thing. Anything said about sex, everybody will believe it.
माँ, मैं आपकी किताब पर आना चाहूंगा कि डोंट किल हिम, मुझे उसे मत मारो, जो पुस्तक आपने लिखी, उसको लिखने के पीछे आपका उद्देश्य क्या था? पुनीत शर्मा जी को मैं कहना चाहूंगा कि मुझे लगता है कि उनको उनकी बात का आंसर मिल गया होगा। तो हम इसी क्वेश्चन पे दोबारा आते हैं कि डोंट किल हिम जो किताब है, उसको लिखने का, उसको, उस पुस्तक को लिखने का पीछे का उद्देश्य क्या था? क्यों लिखी आपने वो किताब?
I wrote this book and dedicated to my parents, especially my father. My father said, Sheila, you cannot sit quiet with the amount of experience and learning you have done from Bhagwan. You cannot be quiet. You must speak, you must write. Then I wrote this book at night, late hours of night. I worked the whole day, 14 hours a day, 12 hours a day, and then at night, few hours I would write. And my father read every page that I produced. It was in honor of my father. It was his advice that I even speak to you, Raghav. My father said, whenever somebody wants to interview you or speak to you, you must always say yes. This is why I answer 30,000 times the same questions.
माँ, मैं आपसे एक और बात कहना चाहूंगा। वैसे तो यहाँ पर एक जो है जीतू काकू हैं जो कि लिखते हैं कि by the personal secretary you have did not done meditation in proper manner, only wanted a fame who drugged him and who killed again. I asking you.
You can go wash your face and wake up. So maybe reality can sink into you. I have no answer for stupid questions like this, young man.
माँ, एक और क्वेश्चन वैसे तो यहाँ पर आ रहा है, मुझे इस बारे में ज्यादा पता नहीं है, लेकिन मैं चाहूंगा फिर भी आप इसका आंसर दें। यहाँ पर एक दिनेश राज जी हैं, वो लिखते हैं रजनीशपुरम में मुर्गी पोल्ट्री फॉर्म जो है बनाया गया था, वो किसका प्लान था और क्यों बनाया गया था?
Simple, we had to earn money. Without hard work, you can't earn money. And we used to give bio eggs we were selling.
बहुत खूब माँ।
We also had a dairy for our own use, and extras would go somewhere else.
ओके माँ, यहाँ पर मैं कमिंग टू द एंड, मैं यहाँ पर कुछ 2-3 क्वेश्चन हैं जो आपसे और करना चाहूंगा कि जिंदगी के में एक पड़ाव हर इंसान की जिंदगी में एक ऐसा आता है या उसको कभी कभी ऐसा लगता है कि कुछ बातों का पश्चाताप होता है, तो क्या आपके मन में भी कुछ ऐसा है क्या?
मैं पश्चाताप में मानती नहीं हूँ, मैं कोई क्रिश्चियन नहीं हूँ और गिल्ट में पिछड़ी महिला नहीं हूँ। पश्चाताप और गिल्ट एक हाथ में बंधे हुए हैं, उसे मुझे कोई मतलब नहीं।
माँ, एक और बात मैं आपसे कहना चाहूंगा कि आज भी ऐसे बहुत से लोगों का मानना है कि माँ आनंद शीला गलत थी, उन्होंने बहुत सारी गलतियां की, तो क्या जवाब है उनकी इस बात का आपके पास में?
एक ही जवाब है, तो आप सुधार ले गलतियां मेरी और आप फिर से रजनीशपुरम बना दीजिए। यही एक मेरी सलाह है। और कैसा है आपका जीवन, उस पर एक आंख डाल दीजिएगा।
माँ, एक आखिरी बात मैं आपसे कहना चाहूंगा कि हम आज की माँ आनंद शीला को जब देखते हैं तो उनके चेहरे पर एक खूबसूरत सी मुस्कान और ठहराव और एक ग्लो जो कि भगवान श्री रजनीश के प्रति आदर, सम्मान और प्यार का जो ये भाव नजर आता है आपको देख करके, तो मैं चाहूंगा कि आप जवाब दें कि इन सब को लेकर के आप क्या कहना चाहें?
What can I say? It is a feeling, and feeling just rushes out. The same way when I used to look at Bhagwan before, I was the same way, and now also. You can see many photos together, and you see how I have felt. Same young woman that fell in love.
माँ, चलने से पहले मैं चाहूंगा कि ओशो के तमाम सन्यासियों के लिए या पूरे वर्ल्ड के लिए ओशो की तरफ से या अपनी तरफ से, भगवान श्री रजनीश की तरफ से आप क्या संदेश जो है सभी लोगों को देना चाहेंगी?
If you want to honor Bhagwan, follow one of very important lesson from him, that is, take responsibility for yourself and don't push and blame others for your responsibility. Look at yourself.
माँ, एक क्वेश्चन जो है मैं शायद भूल गया, मेरे दिमाग में बिल्कुल अभी आया
कोई
है
बात नहीं।
कि भगवान श्री रजनीश अक्सर जो है उमराव जान देखा करते थे, तो वो जो मूवी है, वो जो पिक्चर है, वो अक्सर आपके साथ में उन्होंने बहुत बार देखी। तो मैं चाहूंगा कि वो जो क्षण है उनके बारे में भी आप जो है दो शब्द कहे, और फिर एक उसके बाद में एक और क्वेश्चन है, वो भी मैं आपसे पूछना चाहूंगा। तो पहले आप इस क्वेश्चन का आंसर दें।
I was aware that Bhagwan was going to talk to me about this movie or anything. I went as normal to work with him, 7 in the evening. We did our practical work about the city construction, publicity, etc., finances, etc. And then I was taking my papers and ready to say goodnight. And Bhagwan said, "Come, Sheela, sit here." And he showed me, took me by his side. And then I realized he had a frozen frame on the television. And he started. And he then interpreted, explained to me the whole poetry. Now I don't remember anymore the poetry of which one of it, but he took time and explained every word. And I was just like looking at him, drowning, drowning. And these films, Kirti and other people who were Indian sannyasins living in the ranch were organizing for Bhagwan to look at such films. And it was like I was just lifted to another planet. Okay.
बहुत सारे लोग जो है एक क्वेश्चन जो है लोगों की तरफ से एक क्वेश्चन नहीं बोलूंगा, ये डिमांड आ रही है। देखिएगा कि जो है सभी लोग यहाँ पर कहना चाहते हैं कि जो आपकी कोई एक मेमोरेबल जो मोमेंट है भगवान के साथ में, वो चाहते हैं लोग कि आप उसको शेयर करें। कुछ लोगों का कहना है कि प्लीज शेयर मेमोरेबल मोमेंट विद ओशो। तो कोई और ऐसी घटना जो आपके बहुत दिल के करीब हो। वैसे तो बहुत सारे ऐसे मोमेंट हैं जिसमें मैं कहूंगा जब आपने पहली बार भगवान को देखा था, पहली बार आप भगवान से मिली थी, वो घटना का हम जिक्र चाहेंगे। और उसके बाद की भी मैं चाहूंगा एक नहीं 2-3 घटनाओं के बारे में प्लीज आप जरूर बताएं। वक्त है हमारे पास में। जी
राघव, इतना सारा वक्त आपके पास नहीं है, क्योंकि मेरा पूरा जीवन भगवान के साथ इतनी सुंदर घटनाओं से भरा है कि मैं किस घटना को कहूं कि ये बहुत सुंदर था और ये नहीं था। वो पूरा जीवन ही इतना सुंदर था।
माँ, मैं ये चाहूंगा कि आप 2 या 3 घटनाएं जो है जो आपको लगता है कि ये शेयर की जानी चाहिए, सिर्फ वो शेयर कर दीजिए प्लीज।
When we flew India, Bhagwan was sitting in his cabin on 747 plane on the upper deck, and they were serving him his lunch, and the stewardess wanted to ask me what should she organize drink for Bhagwan, and I took the champagne glass from her hand and I went and poured it for Bhagwan, and Bhagwan says, my Madhusala. And I poured it, then he took one sip, and then he passed it on to me to have it. And that was charming, very special moment for me. I was sometimes romantically stupid in such moments. So that was one moment I can think. Another moment was when I opened the car door for Bhagwan when he first arrived at his house, that we have built it in less than 3 months with 4,000 square meter of green lawn in desert, few peacocks surrounding, few pairs of peacocks, heavenly atmosphere, and few hardworking sannyasin were sitting playing music to receive Bhagwan. And as he stepped out of the car, put his arm around his waist, and gave a one look at the environment in a round circular, and he said, Sheela, you did well. And I fell into his feet, and he put his hand on my head. And that was divine moment. And we leave it at this point, Raghav. I thank your viewers for taking my bold statements and to think about it. Let's not lose this valuable man on these stupid questions. And hope next time I can talk more about what I have learned from him.
जी बिल्कुल माँ, बहुत खूबसूरत जो मोमेंट हैं आपकी जिंदगी के भगवान श्री रजनीश के साथ में। ऐसे तो बहुत सारे मोमेंट हैं जिनके लिए जो है, अगर मुझे लगता है कि हम लोग घंटों बात करें तो शायद तब भी जो है खत्म नहीं होंगे। और हम आगे के लिए भी कुछ रखते हैं और जरूर किसी प्रोग्राम में हम भगवान श्री रजनीश के साथ में आपके बिताए हुए जो मोमेंट्स हैं सिर्फ उनको लेकर के चर्चा करेंगे और करना चाहेंगे। और मुझे लगता है कि हमारे तमाम दर्शक जो हैं वो सभी चाहेंगे कि आपकी और भगवान श्री रजनीश के बीच के अंदर जो एक रिलेशनशिप थी और जो खूबसूरती थी और जो एक भाव था और जो घटनाएं आपके साथ में भगवान श्री रजनीश के साथ होने से घटी, जो आपकी जिंदगी में तमाम चेंजेस आए, उनको लेकर के भी हम आगे एक प्रोग्राम में बात करेंगे। और आज जितनी भी आपने अपनी तरफ से बातें रखी और जिस सादगी से आपने सभी क्वेश्चंस का आंसर दिया है, तो मुझे लगता है कि हमारे श्रोताओं को, हमारे देखने वालों का, हमारे दर्शकों को उनकी सभी बातों का जवाब मिल गया होगा। आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद माँ। मैं बहुत ही एक हम्बल आपको तरीके से प्रणाम करना चाहूंगा और कहूंगा कि आपने अपना बहुत ही कीमती समय निकाला और आपने भगवान के लिए, मास्टर के लिए बात की और भगवान की जो उन्होंने आपके लिए कहा उसको भी सहर्ष स्वीकार करते हुए आप जीवन में आगे बढ़ी और उसी भाव से शायद आज आपके चेहरे पर वो तेज है और मैं आपका बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहूंगा माँ।
I thank you, Raghav, and your viewers for finding me worth speaking.
थैंक यू माँ, थैंक यू वेरी मच।
I'm going to log out now.
जी माँ, बिल्कुल।